Hey, it's Doctor Nefarious again, and I'm going to explain some of the things I found when investigating the grenade sound bug that was mentioned recently in 3Kicks Phillips' most recent video. I'm sure the bug has existed for much longer than this, but that's when I first heard of it at least. If you have no idea what this bug is, essentially when you throw a grenade, sometimes it makes a noise and sometimes it doesn't. This noise can be heard by enemies, so it's a pretty big deal if you're trying to do things like pop flashes and so on, and no one has any idea what causes it. If you have no idea what this bug is, I'll show some quick clips to let you know. Standing here, for example, just after I release the grenade, it will make a noise. Listen out for it. Whilst if I stand over here, it doesn't make the noise. It's very subtle, but obviously at high levels of play, if people are listening for it, it's a pretty big deal. Walking around the map, it's quite easy to see how it may appear random, like if I stand here, it makes a noise, makes a noise, it doesn't make a noise, makes a noise, doesn't make a noise, does make a noise, doesn't make a noise, you know, it's kind of confusing. Doesn't, and then over here, it does. Now one of the things I noticed pretty quickly was to do with how flat the ground was. Like here, the ground's very flat, doesn't make a noise. Ground's quite bumpy, it does make a noise. Flat, doesn't. On a ramp, it does. Flat, it doesn't. So you get the idea. However, even though that worked in the majority of cases, there were inconsistencies, like this spot right here. It does make the grenade noise, but it does also look pretty flat. As well as that, the ground here can hardly be considered flat. Yeah, the grenades are silent. This spot here in Inferno can be considered very flat, but it makes a noise. Whilst over here, a clearly uneven piece of ground is silent. So how do we explain these inconsistencies? Well, to do that, I opened the map in the map editor so I could see exactly how it was built. And here we can see that these two flat surfaces aren't exactly the same. This surface here consists of one large rectangle, whilst this surface here consists of many different polygons. What this is called displacement. Now I'll show you another good example of that in a map that I made. This block here does not have displacement. Its face consists of just one rectangle, whilst this block here does have displacement and its face consists of many different polygons. Now the reason you would want to do this is so you could alter or distort the shape of it to make it bumpy, essentially. For example, you could make this random shape over here from this using displacement. So is displacement really the problem? Let's find out. This was a map I very quickly made. These two blocks here are completely identical, except this one has displacement on it. And after this I'll remind you about what exactly that means. So this block does not have displacement. If I throw a grenade, it's completely silent. If I throw a grenade here, it's not, it makes a noise. The only difference, I'll make this bigger so you can see, is that block does not have displacement, and that one does. That's the only difference. So what about all those other inconsistencies on Mirage, where we could throw silent grenades on clearly uneven ground? Because surely that ground has displacement on it, so how can we throw silent grenades? Well, let's go and check that again in the map editor and see what that exactly looks like. So on Mirage, you can throw a silent grenade here, as I showed earlier. But if we dig down, we can see that this displaced ground is actually clipped inside of a no-draw block, which does not have displacement. This block here, which looks flat and does have displacement, is not sitting on top of a layer of no-draw. This block over here, where we know we can throw silent grenades, if I can actually click on it, you can see that it's clipped inside of a no-draw, but it itself is actually displaced. So, does clipping a displaced layer inside of a no-draw, which isn't displaced, remove the grenade bug? Well, let's go and have a look. This block here has displacement on it, and it makes a noise. The block next to it is exactly the same, but there's a no-draw block sitting inside of it, and it is silent. At this point, it does seem pretty clear that using displacement on the surface causes grenades to bug out. I have absolutely no clue why that is the case. I want to show you some other stuff as well about why grenade bugs are so prevalent on Mirage and aren't on other maps like Inferno. The thing about Mirage is, even though it's a very sandy map and obviously very uneven, the no-draw layer, which the map creator used, is clipped into this ground at almost every point. Like, you can go pretty much anywhere on the map, and the sandy ground is inside the no-draw layer. And because of that, you can throw silent grenades pretty much anywhere on this map, even on ridiculously uneven ground. Now, there's a bit over here in 3 Clicks Phillips' video where you throw a silent grenade here and you throw a noisy grenade there. Looking under the ground, you can see it is clipped inside the no-clip layer, but as we go over, as it gets higher, it's not. So the more you stand over here, you will start to get noisy grenades, essentially. On a map like Inferno, a map where I really struggled to replicate the silent grenades, if we look under the ground, we can see there is a no-draw layer, which there has to be. It's something you need to make maps anyway, but it's not clipped into the ground. It's a decent bit beneath it. And as we go around all the different surfaces, we can see in quite a few cases it's nowhere near it at all. I'll just go around and see how many instances I can find. Like, it's not touching it. Here it is, I guess. It would be a good test if I throw a grenade here to see if it's silent. Over here it's definitely not. So I guess as a test, a proof of concept, if I throw a grenade here, it should make a noise. And if I throw a grenade here, since it's clipped into the no-draw layer, the grenade should be silent. So let's go test that. Okay, so here the grenade should make a noise because it's far above the no-draw layer. And here the displacement layer is inside the non-displacement no-draw layer, so it should be a silent grenade. And it is. So I can now predict where on a map you should be able to throw silent grenades and where on a map the grenade should make a noise. So displacement definitely has something to do with it. I have no clue why. I have a feeling it's probably indirect. I can't imagine it's a direct cause. I can't imagine, you know, putting a polygon mesh on a ground makes you make an additional noise when you throw a grenade. I have no idea why that would ever happen. But the polygon mesh somehow triggers something which bugs out your grenade throw. I'm not sure what else to say. If I can think of other things, I'll add it on to the end of the video. An additional thing I was wanting to talk about is what the bug actually is. Because I've seen a lot of people on Reddit and so on thinking that the grenade being silent is the bug. But is it? You know, is it the grenade being silent or the grenade making a noise, which is the bug? I have no idea what it was like in previous Counter-Strike games, whether, you know, it does make a noise as you're throwing a grenade. What I can say though is, on perfectly normal ground, a grenade throw is silent, which seems to imply you know, that a silent grenade throw is in fact normal, and the noisy grenade throw is in fact the bug. But it'd be interesting to hear what other people think, because I've seen people saying completely different things.